Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, back in the overflow room with some tips on how to organize your CD collection. A lot of you have asked me, and so I have finally bitten the bullet, and I'm going to take on this topic. Actually, going through this stuff has turned out to be rather simple because I'm a simple guy, as I've said on and off again. Some of you have done amazing things organizing CDs. You have computerized databases. They tell you what you have and all of this information. I don't care about any of that stuff. All I care about is the music. I just want to be able to find the music I want to listen to. You know, who did it, when they did it, how they did it, what label it was on, what year it was issued, what the catalog numbers are. I mean, I don't pay any attention to that information, especially now with everything going digital, getting licensed and reissued and delicensed. And it's out of date as soon as it comes out. First, you should know something about the overflow room here. This is indeed the Haydn operas on Philips. I've gotten so many questions about what this orange pile of stuff is. You know, the reason they're here in the overflow room in these individual boxes is because they were reissued, and of course, in two large boxes containing all of this stuff, which takes up a lot less shelf space. So those boxes are in Brooklyn, whereas the rest of it is over here in Connecticut. But these, of course, have the librettos, which is handy. Now, everything here in these shelves in the overflow room, which you should, let me take this out here, which you'll see, is doubled. These are all double depth shelves, which is a very, very handy thing to have, except that you tend to not even pay attention to what's in the second layer because you have to actually look for it. But I actually have a way of dealing with that issue. If you've been more space conscious and you need double depth shelves, here's what I do. And you may think it's kind of counterintuitive, but it actually isn't, because there was a scientific study about this that I'll tell you about. Essentially, what I do is everything is organized alphabetically by composer. Big surprise, right? What else are you going to do? Except if there are performer-devoted collections, then those performer-devoted collections I put in the alphabet by performer. For example, here is the Marilyn Horn box, and it's under H for horn. Very handy. It really is. So that goes over there. And next to her, a few things down. Let me see if I can do this. There we go. Over here, this guy here, that's Vladimir Horowitz. So his section starts over there. It's actually, the H's are a wonderful way to do this, because this set pile of stuff, these are film scores by Bernard Herrmann. And for Bernard Herrmann, it's actually an interesting situation because if you like film scores, and I do, you may be stuck. You know, for example, if you get them digitally, if you download them to your iThing or one of those things, you're going to get them by title of film, which is really annoying if you like particular film score composers, such as Bernard Herrmann or James Horner, who I have over there, or Jerry Goldsmith. I actually loathe Horner, but I do have a section for him because he stole, Prokofiev's Romeo and Juliet when the Starship Enterprise tanks in the Wrath of Khan. I thought that was the most awful thing I've ever heard. There's nothing more distracting than watching a dramatic, fabulous scene from a movie, and the music is preeminent in those scenes, because when you watch a spaceship blow up, that's a musical event. That's not something that's going to have witty dialogue. And so as you're watching this stuff happen, and all of a sudden you hear the ya-da da 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 da, I go to myself, holy shit, someone's playing Romeo and Juliet. I thought it was coming from, somebody's phone in the audience or something. Oh, it's just so irritating. So I hate Horner, but I have a couple of his scores in there because I like the movies. If you have it by title, that's fine. It depends on you. It depends on how you are going to find it. The whole point of any organizational system is to allow you to find things. So essentially, we've covered performers and composers. And that's going to be 99% of what your collection consists of. The only other issue that I see that could be a problem and that you're going to have every so often concerns compilations. When you have a compilation, it can go many different ways. And there it requires a bit of a trick of memory. because you really have to know why you bought the thing in the first place. And here's a perfect example right here in Hindemith. This is Eugene Ormandy with the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra on Orfeo. You get Gottfried von Einem's Capriccio, Paul Hindemith's Mattis der Maler Symphony, Roussel's Bacchus and Ariadne Suite No. 2, and La Valse by Ravel. It's a great collection of stuff, isn't it? And the performances are quite fun. But here's the point. I got it because Ormandy was a really fine Hindemith conductor, and I wanted to hear an alternative version of him doing Mattis der Maler. So I filed it under Hindemith. And that's where it could be. It could just as easily be under Ormandy or on any of the pieces that are in here. I don't think it's necessary to have, some sort of computer database to figure this out, because all you have to do is remember why you bought it. Sometimes that may be very difficult. I don't have a problem doing that. Other people may. I don't know. I generally know what's on the discs I bought and why I bought them. And so that's how I file them. And it works for me. The other trick, and this is the trick I mentioned right at the beginning of this little chat, hang on, let me put this away, is that if you have a ton of stuff within a composer, I've got Haydn goes here, it goes up 1, 2, 3, at least 3 or 4 shelves worth of Haydn. And you've got operas and symphonies and string quartets and all that stuff. As you can see, I put the operas together. If we go up a little bit here, up there, see this little yellow patch? That's the Orpheus Chamber Orchestra doing their symphony recordings. I will sometimes group things by performer or by, genre. I don't mind doing that. It sometimes is handy for locating things. But in general, and especially if you have double depth shelves, I don't mind it being scrambled. I really don't. Because while, yes, I want to be able to find what I want to listen to, I also want to know what I have. I really want to know what I have. I want to know what's in there because there's a lot of great stuff. And I don't remember everything that I've acquired over the years. It's impossible. I mean, I've got, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90,000 CDs. I have no idea how many CDs I have. None. And because I have them here and I have them in Brooklyn and I have at least another huge pile elsewhere that we don't need to talk about. The point is, you need to go through your stuff once in a while. You need to churn the pile, whether you reverse the shelves and put everything in the back, the front, or, do things like that. That's one way to know. I've done that in Brooklyn. I take the double shelves and I simply put everything that's in front and back. And that way I have to look at what's in the back once in a while. And I remember some of the things that I don't even know I may have had. But the other reason is because it's just such a great idea to simply spend a few minutes. And how long can it take? Even if you have a whole Gesundheit shelf of Bach or something, go through it. See what's there. If you know that you own something, or you really feel strongly that you own something, it's in there somewhere. And I have no problem going through, taking 5, 10, 15 minutes and going through the entire collection by composer or by artist or whatever it is, and finding what I'm looking for. I don't think it makes any sense. And I don't really worry about having to be able to, at a second's notice, go in and just snatch the disc I want. The ones that I really, really love, that I really know and really love, just put them in front. So you'll see them quickly. It's all just practicality and simplicity. But there was one of the most interesting things I was telling you about. There was a scientific study about how desktops work. And, when they were designing, for the Mac and all that stuff, your computer desktop and how things get organized. And one of the things they discovered is that messy desks are sometimes more efficient as ways of organizing things. The law of entropy comes in. It actually helps you to find things more quickly because messy things are not always messy by design. They're messy because you put things in places where it's most convenient for you to reach for them. And while it may conform to no alphabet or no other organizational system known to mankind, it conforms to your brain. It conforms to that organizational system, the one you use, that you actually use. And so it makes perfect sense to have the things that you listen to most separately somewhere. And they don't even have to be in any particular order. You just have to know that the things I do most are somewhere. So I often have I have this collection, I have like the Big Brooklyn collection, but I also have the most listened to pile of stuff for my own personal pleasure. Things that I refer to constantly. Also things that I refer to constantly for these chats and whatnot. That's a whole separate thing. And you take a little shelf and you just put that stuff in there. And it's obviously going to be limited. It forces you to limit the number of things that you have. But it also makes it just even more convenient to find them when you want to find them, if you know you're going to be going back very frequently. If you're not going back frequently, then this is all you need. You don't have to make yourself crazy. And I think that's the point that I really want to make here, because I really feel, as I always do with all of this stuff, everything I talk about music and how it works and all this, is that it's all about listening to music. It's all about finding the music that you love and enjoying it, and not making this an ordeal in your life, which it can very easily become. I mean, so many of us, I don't need to exaggerate. My friends out there, you, and my friends in the music business, especially if you live in apartments, you spend your whole life, lusting after shelf space and trying to find ways to organize things. When the fact of the matter is, there's a limit to how many things you can have, even if you have tons, even if you have thousands. You know how long it takes to go through a couple thousand CD titles? Not long at all. So don't be afraid to just make a big pile of crap and organize it later, if that's what you feel like doing. I don't want to spend my life cataloging. I'm not a librarian. I'm a music lover. And so, yes, I'm going to have this library of stuff, and they're double shelves and they're whatnot. But do it in a way that's going to force you to look at what you have, and that will make looking at what you have enjoyable. That it'll be fun. You'll go through it and say, oh, wow, I don't remember I had that. Let me pull that out and listen to it. It should be an adventure, a voyage of discovery all the time. I mean, there are composers here. I mean, I could just go anywhere here. Let's see. Let me just pull one out. What's this thing? Who's this? Oh, let me see. Oh, look. Wait, here we go. There's Hildegard of Bingen. I mean, how often do I listen to Hildegard of Bingen? Not very often, I have to say. But it's beautiful music, and it's nice to have, and I can. But what's this one? Oh, look. Oh, good Lord. Dreams for Alice. This is a musical by Gilbert Heatherwick. Gilbert Heatherwick was a very, very nice guy who was an EMI label executive. And he was also a composer. And he wrote a musical called Dreams of Alice. He gave me a copy. So here it is. How often have I listened to Gilbert Heatherwick's Dreams of Alice? Not very often, I have to confess. But I'm happy to have it. And I've saved it because you never know. And it had some good songs. Here's Michael Hirsch on Naxos, Symphonies 1 and 2. These are not things that you're going to pull out every minute unless they really strike you as extraordinary. But you want to keep them. You want to keep them for whatever reason. They give you pleasure. I keep things for library purposes because I may have to refer to them later. And so here they are in a way where I'll find them if I'm looking. And someday I may be going through here and say, oh, look, there's Gilbert, or there's Michael Hirsch. And let's take it out and give it a spin, because I have to look at it, because I don't have things so organized. There's a way you can be excessively organized, that you only narrowly find that one thing that you're looking for. But if you have 10 times more titles than you can reasonably remember or even know that you have sometimes, you want to be able to see them, not find them, because you don't know what your intention is going to be. I don't know about you, but you know what? I don't always plan every minute of listening. I just feel, okay, I want to hear some music. Let's listen to some music. And you go and you see, oh, look at it. It's like I have this fabulous selection of stuff. And you start pulling things apart. You go, whoa, I haven't heard that in years. Let's try that one again. Or I forgot what that sounded like. Let me play it over again. I must have kept it for a reason. Try and organize yourself in the way that your own mind works. That's my best suggestion to you. The basic strategy is going to be, it's simple, it's going to be alphabetical by composer or by performer. And once you figure out how to treat compilations, you're done. The real key, like I said, is going to be how you operate within the composers who compose the most stuff, or who you have the most copies of individual works. You may want to put all your eroicas in one giant eroica section, or you may want to spread them out, because that way you may even have an even better chance of coming across something you haven't heard in a while. It's whatever works for you. I think simplicity is best here. I really do. And again, it's whatever is going to allow you to get the most enjoyment out of the music that you've purchased. I think rediscovery is as much fun as discovery. I really do. I mean, there are some composers who are popular now and who weren't popular just a few years ago, or are more popular now. Let's put it that way. They've been recorded more frequently, so you may come across them. But you may have a pile of their stuff that you forgot that you even bought. And as I say, I'll show you one of those. Wait a minute. Down here. It's down at the bottom. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, remember this? Hélène Grimaud, her Denon recordings, back when she was just a kid, and did some of her best work, by the way. This is on Brilliant Classics, this 5-disc box. These were all of her Denon recordings. They're wonderful. So that's fun to have. It's under G for Grimaud, even though, the individual discs are composer dedicated. Down here, hang on a second. Let me move this. There we are. Okay. Here we go. This is fascinating. This is absolutely fascinating. Yes. Okay, I got it. I found it. Johan Halvorsen. Remember Johan Halvorsen? Now there's a series, like 4 discs on Chandos of all of his orchestral music. Here I am over here. Let me move back here. There we go. Okay, so there he is. And his music is quite wonderful. It really is. But when I was first discovering him, it wasn't easy to get his stuff at all. It was actually quite difficult. But it turned out that there was a series of Johan Halvorsen discs on CMAX, including a lot of his incidental music, and some things you still can't get anywhere else. And here they are, CMAX, all of the original Norwegian Johan Halvorsen discs. It's wonderful to have these because, for my professional purposes, once the Chandos recordings came out, I had comparisons ready to hand. But this was such good music, and I remember listening to it and thinking, boy, this guy's really terrific. I enjoy his music very much, but I don't have that many references. But yes, they existed at one point, and I had them, and they're fun to find. And if they're in the back shelf, and you take out the front shelf, you'll see, there they are. Anyway, like I said, go with your gut. Do the things that make the most sense for you. But I just think these are the tips that have helped me. And they work. They work for me. And particularly the messy organization within Composer really, really works for me. You may want to put all your Beethoven symphonies together, all your concertos, but you accumulate these things if you're really seriously collecting so quickly. And to have to move everything over and stuff one thing in, it makes you crazy, doesn't it? Have to move everything down one. You wind up having several alphabets, which I do everywhere, because here, let me show you. Let me pick this up. Here is the basic overflow room alphabet, which actually goes all the way over here. There's more over here, and it ends with Wagner and Kurt Weill. See, here's like the W's down here, and the Y and Z. So this is the shelf it ends in. But then down here, if we go lower, I'm starting a new alphabet. So it's got to be in one of 2 alphabets. And I just have to look. Sometimes I switch things back and forth between the 2 alphabets. And then I have an entire wall, this is a wall here, of completely unfiled stuff that I have no idea what it is. And I haven't heard it. And I may review some of it. I don't know. But it's stuff that interested me. And so I've hung on to it. But see, this is what happens when you're a professional critic and you just acquire stuff. This is not what's going to happen to most of you, I don't think. But it's also good, frankly. I've heard some of you saying to me, well, I've been buying all of this stuff, these box sets, all this junk that I've been recommending and that you've been buying, which is wonderful. And you don't have time to listen to it. And you should take time. Stick it in a clump somewhere. Don't worry about organizing it. Just stuff it away. And then when you feel like listening to music, go look and see what you got. And just say, hey, oh yeah, Hurwitz recommended that thing. Maybe I'll listen to it now, if that's the way it works. Just enjoy it. Enjoy yourself. Have fun with it. Don't make yourself crazy. That's the real point. Just make sure it remains an enjoyable experience for you. And with that, I would say, stop organizing and keep on listening. Thank you. I hope this advice is helpful. I really do. It's a personal thing. It's going to be with all of us. I can only tell you what works for me. But over the years, this has worked pretty well for me. It really has. I don't lose things, generally. Some things I wind up acquiring twice because I just can't keep track of it all. That's going to happen. But most of the time, I can find what I want. I know what I have. I know where it is roughly enough so that I'll know that I'll find it quickly enough not to make me crazy. And I can be crazy about other things, but I'm not going to be crazy about this. So thank you and take care.